I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's kush. I love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it. I just do it like Nike swoosh. None of that Reggie Bush cause I'm top shelf. I ain't got.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yeah, playoffs indeed. Playoffs.
I still don't like that.
You know what? I haven't had a chance to, give Matthew a good ribbing, but it's going to happen eventually. But in the meantime, welcome everybody to this episode of Chaos in Indianapolis, otherwise known as Colts Fan Battle, otherwise known as the YDKJAC Podcast, where we go over everything Colts, and then on top of that, we sprinkle in some petty when we can. However, at this point, we really aren't in the position to. All right, let's just be real about it.
Well, you can, I can.
Okay, well, you can as much as you want because you have a reputation to uphold. Me, however, I mean, at this point, I'm basically like fighting for my life whenever I'm saying anything Colts related. So, I mean, there's that. But in the meantime, welcome back. Like I said, here with the guys. We have with us Josh Sr.
What's good, everybody? Oh, happy day.
What? That is all right. Way to get us kicked off. That is all right.
Yeah.
We have Austin Cook, everybody.
Hey, what's up? I'm Austin.
Yeah, and I'm Chris Jackson, and I'm sad. I'm sad. Not gonna lie, I'm a little sad. Not really that sad, but you know what? We'll see how this progresses as we move along because there's a lot to unpack from the last 48 hours. So yeah. All right. So I mean, without further ado, I mean it's been chaotic to say the least. However, something that doesn't necessarily have to be chaotic is your hygiene. Especially
yes.
Which is the reason why the people at Manscaped want to make sure that there's no chaos there. Okay, there's chaos everywhere. Chaos on the roads, chaos in the household. But when it comes to your junk, it doesn't need to be. All right. So you make sure that when you go to manscaped.com, you make sure that you put in promo code FANBATTLE. That's all one word, no spaces, and you'll be able to get 20% off and free shipping on the entire order. All right, and Josh can attest to it. Josh got it. He can let you know all the ins and outs. Hopefully, not too much because that would be giving too much. And
right.
I mean, we don't get banned. This is a family podcast. All right.
Well, just say since I bought the product, I've been having a happy home.
I mean, I'm not sure how it sounds, but it's just like I'll take your word for it.
When I put boxes briefs, and the lady loved them, so she loved them. So.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's fine. That's just good and dandy. All right. I like it. All right. And so so just make sure that you go to manscaped.com, whatever you choose at checkout, use promo code Fan Battle, get 20% off and free shipping. Even Daryl, he can attest to it. He says, "Keep me scaped up, bro." I'm not sure what that means. But it sounds like a good thing. All right, and then he said, "Happy wife, happy life." So you know what? He got it. He got it. Josh got it. Why don't you have it? Right? Why don't you? Yeah, it's just like do what you got to do. I'm not going any further into that because I don't want things to get weird. All right. So let's just start off because there's a lot to unpack with the last couple days. Let's start off with probably the worst of it. Colts versus Patriots. I had this being a very defensive game. It was a very defensive game for the Patriots because we did absolutely nothing. But
Right.
I'm gonna let you guys kind of go into it a little bit more because honestly thinking about it again, I'm getting sad. So I'm gonna say it's just like Austin, kick us off. Like what was going on in this game?
So yeah, the Patriots defense dominated the whole game. But our defense also played well. I was impressed by our defense. The only reason they scored so many is pick six and a blocked punt. Like
Yeah.
those two both were their only touchdowns,
Yeah.
and our offense just did nothing, like the whole
Mhm.
game. And even when we got into field goal range, missed a field goal before halftime. It was just bad, very bad offensively. But I do like our defense did do well and caused 2 fumbles, one recovery though.
Oh yeah, on Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I mean our defense has been consistently good. I mean, I'm gonna say it's just like they're carrying this team because I mean, honestly, we would probably have been getting blown out in a lot of these games, probably by at least 20 to 21, 28 points every single game. But I mean, the defense shows up every single week, which I mean, it's refreshing, yes, but I mean, for the defense to be this good and the offense to be this bad, it's just terrible. But like Josh, from like what you saw in the game, right? What really like was the Patriots defense that good or was the offense that bad?
Well, I mean, historically, Bill Belichick has good defenses. I mean, last year, they held Carson pretty good. I mean, our run game was just got going. I don't want to make any excuses to say that we didn't have JT. The reason why couldn't get our offense going, but it plays a part in it. Yeah, Dion he did pretty good. Phillip did good, and Jordan Wilkins did good, but it just wasn't enough to get the passing game going. Receivers dropping pass. It was like my screaming. It was kept going. It was unavailable. I couldn't get it to go. I couldn't get it to go Sunday, man. I was getting frustrated. I wanted to watch the game. And once it was just offense was stagnant and our defense kept giving the ball back and we kept going 3 and out, putting the defense back on the field, block punts. Even when we got the fumble from Bobby Okereke, it just wasn't enough. It didn't get us. It didn't get the offense going. So at that point, I couldn't watch the game anymore. Every stream I watched was behind, so it was just like the game. My stream was chaotic. It was chaos. It was just so I couldn't enjoy Sunday. I couldn't enjoy it at all. The only enjoyment I got was when the Chiefs beat the Titans. So, and I was at home then.
That was very enjoyable. That was very enjoyable. It was. You can't even lie about that one. That warmed my heart a little bit.
Right.
But it's crazy because every single year we go into these things where it's just like this, like the Patriots is always kind of a toss up. I mean, we haven't won in Foxborough in God knows how long, but at
like
least
9
you're
years
expecting.
now.
Yeah, you're expecting at least like some type of effort, some type of like extra oomph. And I mean, this offense came out flatter than we've ever seen it this season. I want to say that this is worse than the Jags game because of the fact that it's just like this team is like you can't like there's nobody on that team that you can really name for me that really strikes fear in somebody's heart. That can't really be like handled, It's like, yeah, like Matthew Judon, like he did fantastic, but it's like, you have guys on there like they lost J.C. Jackson, and it doesn't look like they even lost J.C. Jackson. I mean, they had a rookie, Jack Jones, who just played phenomenal.
Yeah, he did.
And I mean, even on offense, they don't like their best receivers were their tight ends. And I mean, outside of that, Jacoby Myers, who the heck is he?
I forgot what team he played for, but yeah.
Yeah, it honestly is like just seeing this in and out is just it was just bad all around. But I think what made it worse was the fact that it was just a terrible game. Like it was just an absolutely abysmal game. And one great thing that did come out of this was that it looks like this was the final straw. Well, no, matter of fact, no, it didn't look like it was the final straw.
Yeah, the offensive line just We gave up 9 sacks.
Well, Matt Pryor was benched. So, I mean, one great thing did come out of that. Matt Pryor was absolutely benched. And, I mean, we see that once again I think they see that a little too late. Like, they kind of put the pride aside and said, you know what, he's basically doing it. He's like it was done for, because there's no way Matt Pryor looking like an absolute log again. There's no way. Like, it just didn't make sense. And we have it come before we get into the next one, but the Colts owner is playing Madden. He was tired of the quarterback recycling. Fair. That's fair. Because honestly, at this point, we you have to get a new QB. But before you get new QB, you have to get a new coach. Because guess what? Frank Reich gone, baby. Frank Reich is out of here. So
Yes.
news came down early afternoon yesterday that Frank Reich was fired. Josh,
I think he got fired Sunday night from the press conference. He was fired Sunday night, but it was announced Monday.
Okay.
From what I was taking, it seemed like they already fired him Sunday night and just made the decision because they already called. I don't want to get into the next. they call his replacement. But on yesterday, I was disconnected from my phone, everything, social media, everything. But I was on my computer doing work, and a little notification popped up saying Colts fired head coach. I'm like, holy shit! So I just, and I was, the thing is, it's still surprising now because we've never fired a coach mid-season. We've never done it.
Yeah.
Joe Pagano could have been fired mid-season, but they held on to him till Black Monday. So I thought maybe it was going to be the same thing. Hey, we're going to wait, ride it out, wait till January and fire Frank Reich. But like you said, the last straw was losing to the Patriots. After all the things that were said, it wasn't thrown in the white towel. We wasn't doing this. We were still trying to win games, etc. Firing the OC, benching the quarterback that you traded for a third round for, trading the other quarterback for second and third, stuff like that. We did a whole lot just so he can keep his job, and he did everything wrong to keep it. He did everything wrong. He did everything opposite of what he promised the quarterbacks, and the team wasn't fighting for him. I mean, they just looked out of it. I mean, you saw him Sunday. They rolled over. On Sunday, he looked lost. He looked like, yeah, I'm canned. I'm gone. And sure as day. I mean, he's gone. Walking papers. I don't want to celebrate, but I did kind of have some vodka to celebrate yesterday. Because I was tired, man. I was fatigued. I'm a Colts fan. I'm gonna defend my team till the wheels fall off. It happens to wheel fell off in 9 weeks. So
yeah,
and it's time for him to go.
Those were some janky wheels.
Yeah, it was time for him to go. So I do wish him in the next career journey much success. But football, being a coach is not his job. Being a head coach is not his thing.
Yeah, and Austin, like we never seen as Joshua, we never seen a coach get fired mid-season, but I'm gonna say it's just like we've seen games this year, right? I mean, we know how Irsay felt about how the season ended with Jacksonville, and we scored 0 points in week 2. Then they say that they hate the fact that we lose to the Titans. We get swept by the Titans, and it's just like, and that's another thing. And then now Irsay kind of got into a back and forth with the Commanders owner Dan Snyder because he broke like the unwritten rule, right? But like, why was this game the final straw for him to finally get rid of him, given all the rest of the games of the season where he could have potentially been like, you know what, we can't do this anymore?
Yeah, so pretty much everything that you said, just everything kept on piling up. And like we're saying, we're not waving the white flag. We're going out and we're going to win games still. And then the offense is as bad as it's been all year. It's just, I don't know like why he did it. Because like y'all said, we haven't fired a coach mid-season ever. And yeah, like everybody's been asking for him to be fired or saying he needs to be fired, and he
Yeah.
did it. I don't know if like he wants to try to get a head start for next year. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I do feel like sorry for Frank Wright as a person,
Yeah.
but his time in Indy was up. It just
Yeah.
was.
Did y'all watch that video? The video of Jim Irsay in that golf cart. He just was riding past the players.
It was.
He didn't even look at
it was. It was slow. It was. I mean, so on Twitter, one of the things that I said was that that is a very, very slow ride, and there's no way possible that you're not riding through that tunnel that slowly, thinking about like what the hell is the issue, like what's going on, because you can't go into a place like Foxborough knowing the history that you have with them. Mind you, this is a team that Jonathan Taylor just last season ran for a go-ahead touchdown at the end of the game, and you couldn't get offense going. I mean, literally, with this team, they had. Give me 1 second. There was 181 yards of total offense. That's that's passing and rushing. And I mean, you have the person who rushed for the most was Ellinger, and he had 39 yards on the ground. I mean, the person who got the most yards was Alec Pierce, and that was on one play where he had 23 yards. Like these types of numbers, like it's pathetic. It's absolutely abysmal because you have 60 minutes to do something, and the first 3 drives that you have all result in punts. Like it's bad, but and once again, I will never talk bad about Frank Reich as a person, because Frank Reich as a person was a great guy. But let's be completely honest here. As a coach, he was a wet noodle. The most energy we got out of him was in those wins, was in those spots where they're just like, oh, you fought hard, you did this, that, and the other. But I mean, the losses started piling up, and I mean, he just absolutely just went. He went limp. It was just no, we can't do this. We have to chop wood. We have to climb mountains. We have to hurdle fences. Whatever BS jumping metaphor you want to use, it was the exact same thing week in and week out. And once again, it's just like it started off with a tie against the Texans in a game where we could have won it multiple times. But it wasn't just on Blankenship's leg, it was on the play calling, and it was frequently on the play calling. And it's kind of sad that Marcus Brady got hosed prior to this, when the next week it's even worse. Like, I have a feeling that if Marcus Brady had a chance to call this game, do we lose? I'm going to say possibly. But at least then the offense looks like it knows what it's doing. The offense was absolutely disheveled. Everybody was out of their spots. I mean, the best that you can do is, potentially get the ball to some people. The game plan looked the worst it ever has in this game against a defense which played well, but I mean, we just played worse against them. So
it's crazy. And that's crazy because, like we all said, and we've been saying even when Nick Sirianni was the OC, that Frank should give more play calling to Nick Sirianni. And look where he's at now. He got his own team, and he's undefeated. 9-0.
Yeah.
Frank, I don't know if he's trying to be in best impersonation of Doug Peterson or Andy Reid. I don't know what it is. Even Andy Reid wasn't really calling plays Sunday night. I saw Eric call him.
Bieniemy, yep.
I can't say his last name, but he was calling plays. Okay. And it's just like Frank refuses to give it up. Every Sunday they ask the question, say, hey, have you thought about giving it up to play calling? He said, no, I haven't thought up. Then next week, hey, I'm going to fire my OC. Hey, I'm going to bench my quarterback. I'm going to save this season. Play calling. I'm going to resume play calling. And hit the first game after firing your OC, you only scored 3 points. Your offense did not get a first down. It was 0 for 13. And offense. He had 2 turnovers or a turnover, pick 6. It was just everything was out of sync. The run game barely got going. Our quarterback had the most rushing yards, like you said. That's got to be sad. And he probably ran because he was running for his life in a pocket. So he probably got those runs based off running out of the pocket. And it's bad. I mean, it's like I said, as sad it is for him to lose his job. He's a great person, a great man. He's a man of God. And it sucks. It's a business. It just wasn't a guy that could lead the team. And it's time to move forward. And it's okay. I mean, Chuck Pagano was a great man too, man of God, but it was just time for him to move on. And maybe it's time for us to get a new voice that could lead us into the 2023 season.
Yeah. And, we have a few comments that we want to make sure that we go into. First is it's old Bill. He embarrasses young QBs like his favorite hobby, which he does. Because, I mean, he just – it's something about him playing those QBs in their first year or two where he just, like – it's almost like a trance. Like, they're like pigs out to slaughter. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then he had the quarterback. Yep. So here's a quick question before we get to our next portion. Who would you like to see as a new head coach? And I'm going to say – I'm gonna add a caveat to that. Give me your top 3 in terms of head coaching candidates.
Me? Oh, just talk about.
We'll start with Austin. Then we'll go to you, Josh.
Okay.
Got to bring back the sheriff somehow. Peyton Manning.
That's good. That's a good pick.
Guy from the Chiefs. I don't know his last name.
The enemy?
Yeah, the enemy. And Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey.
Ooh,
okay.
Okay. You got those are 3 picks. I can't top those picks. I can't.
What about you, Josh?
I won't be able. Eric, being in me.
There you go.
I did thought about Brian Flores, but never mind because he got a lot of controversy on his name. If you don't have to use that 1 of my 3, but if Mike Tomlin get fired, I wouldn't mind getting him. He'd be number 1 if he's get fired from Pittsburgh. Kellen Moore and the OC from the Giants. Is it not Giants? The Lions. Is it Ben Johnson?
Ben Johnson. Yep.
So Kellen Moore, Ben Johnson, and Eric.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I'm going to say my 3 are probably going to end up being Ben Johnson from Detroit, D'Amico Ryans from San Fran.
Oh man.
And I would like Peyton there, but I think one thing that kind of makes it a little bit interesting is if he doesn't come with some type of trade necessary, Sean Payton.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have to be traded for a pick all day, every day.
Yeah. Bring in Sean Payton and Lamar.
Okay, yeah, I saw that on Twitter. It's just like, that would be pretty good. Listen, if you do the situation right with Matt Ryan, you potentially open that up. I mean, he could absolutely be signed for that, and you could do that. Like I wouldn't be opposed to that. Like let's be honest about it. But you know what? We're not gonna go into what I like. Okay, we're just gonna that's. I see what you did there, Austin. I see what you did there. And it's like I honestly couldn't believe Irsay fired Reich mid-season, but he did, and then to hire Saturday. Well, we're gonna come back to that. Frank Reich needs to be the Colts chaplain. Okay, so you want him to be Easterby. You see how Easterby worked out. I don't think Frank is anywhere near Easterby, but it is what it is. And then Darius, he says Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin, if let go, Eric Bieniemy, my 3. What's up, fellas? What's going on, Darius?
What's good, Darius? You should come on, Darius.
Yep. So now moving on, as was stated before, Jeff Saturday was hired. And this was the very last thing that I think anybody saw happening because, I mean, Who even knew that he was still involved with the Colts organization in any way, shape, or form? But Josh reaction because
surprisingly, I wasn't overly, I didn't overreact it. I didn't have any. I was just like at a, like a mud, like it's just interim. It's not a, not a. He wasn't out. It wasn't named the head coach for the future. So I'm like, oh, I can't, there were guys that could have, they could have named within in-house, but technically, Jeff is in-house. If he's a consultant, he's in-house. So
yeah.
And we didn't know that. And like they say, he was a paid consultant. We didn't know that at all. That was kind of something that they hid from us. I don't know. I mean, he don't have any. The only experience he has is in high school. And they said he went 3-7. But that's high school. I mean, but the guy been around so many years. Been with 13, 14 years. Played 13 with us and went a year with the Packers. And he was undrafted. So the guy. I don't know, man. I really don't have a reaction. Am I happy? Because I'm only happy because he's a former coach. He came back home and he's leading the team. I mean,
yeah,
I'm only happy with that. I mean, Jeff Saturday was a guy that walked on us and as an undrafted free agent and won a spot at guard, and they moved him to center, and he won it. He's been there ever since. Yeah. I'm happy in that mind because we brought back everybody. We brought back Cato June, we brought back Reggie Wayne, brought back a lot of guys. I mean, even. Robert Mathis wants to come back. So we got a lot of guys that are coming back. So that's the only reason I'm happy because he's a former guy that played there. He knows the organization. He knows Earthstate wants to win. So I don't know. I didn't have a big reaction. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, I don't want to know like Austin, like because like I said, I know we some of the other guys, like like Bubba Ventrone is a guy that was just like you knew he was gonna be. He might be the guy, before Marcus Brady was like, oh, it's just like you could have seen Marcus Brady potentially being the interim head coach. But, Jeff Saturday, like what was like the thought process, with Jeff Saturday? Because I don't think anybody saw this coming.
Yeah. I mean, from everything I've seen, it was a shock to everybody. I was shocked. After I saw we fired Frank, I was like refreshing my Twitter just to see what was coming next. And then I see Jeff Saturday's picture. He's announced he's the interim head coach, and I was like, "What? Jeff Saturday?" I think I'm in the same boat as Josh. I'm happy just because he's a former Colt. He's coming back. I think he has a lot of passion. I think he could potentially help our offensive line. Just because he is very intelligent. Everybody that I've seen talk about Jeff Saturday says he's an intelligent person.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's definitely a tank move, but also a good move for our future.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's going to give you a little bit of insight into who Jeff Saturday is as a person, like, yeah, it's just like he's a guy that, it's just very, very well said, very there. But I think he brings a certain amount of intensity. And I think the one thing that you can kind of go back to is that clip of him and Peyton Manning going up to Jeff Saturday and saying, he's like, don't worry about calling the plays. You just block. And then Jeff Saturday literally just said, he's like, who do you think you're talking to? Like this is him talking to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was the golden child. Peyton Manning was the guy who was the guy, and yet you have somebody here who isn't afraid to go and just like let somebody know, just be like, yo, you're bugging out. You need to relax. Go off somewhere. And then they ended up probably being like one of the best, like I'm gonna say, center to QB duos that we've ever seen in the league in terms of what they were actually doing. So I mean, like it's crazy. I mean, it's nuts. And like I said, it was shocking. I'm gonna be honest. It's just like me being home, working from home. I went to the store. I went to the store on my break, and I saw Jeff Saturday was hired. I was walking, and I literally stopped. I stopped where I was, and I said, there's no way that I read that Like how what? Like what are we doing here? Like what's going on? It's not because of the fact that it's bad or anything like that, but the thing is, it's just like this is the first time that I think I've seen anybody fired and then somebody that's not an actual coach on the staff hired immediately. And it's just like it kind of brings up some speculation, which I think we can kind of allude to next after we get through these. We got our friends at the Anvil. Make sure that you're watching the Anvil on Facebook, Anvil Podcast. They said Baltimore going to give Lamar the entire city. Listen, there ain't that much crab legs and Old Bay in Baltimore to begin with, okay? Listen, we will be good. Mind you, also, now they got Roquan now, which means that they're going to have to sign another person, and Roquan's going to demand some money. So I don't know if they're going to give the city. They might give him, they might give him like the
cracker part.
They might give him some of the harbor and a couple of the blocks where they filmed The Wire. But I mean, I don't think that they're going to be able to give him the entire city. All right. So
it's going to be tough now.
Yeah. But then he said Jim may try to build a nucleus around his Super Bowl vets. Would be unprecedented for sure, but is a story within itself. Okay. Yeah. And then we'll talk about that in a second. And then Jeff Saturday told Peyton we need to run the damn ball down there. You know what? I get that. I understand that. Like that makes sense. Like that because the thing is, it's like I like guys who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo. Like as much as you want to say, Pat Mahomes and all these guys, it's just like these guys aren't above any type of judgment and aren't above any type of, like they're not the type of guys where they can just go out and then they just don't make mistakes. Otherwise, it's just like these guys that you think are perfect would have, would have all these things going on. I mean, look at Tom Brady. I mean, it's just like they're struggling this year. And the thing is, by all accounts, this is Tom Brady. Tom Brady shouldn't be struggling, but the thing is, there they are, and that's like they're not above that type of judgment. I don't care what the circumstances are. So, yeah, but once again, moving on. What do you think was the real reason behind hiring Jeff Saturday as opposed to one of the guys on the actual staff?
So, the two coaches that have previous head coaching in their past was John Fox and Gus Bradley, both defensive-minded coaches.
Okay.
I saw somebody, I think Dan Orlovsky said, Jim Irsay did not want a defensive-minded coach because, our defense is fine. It's our offense that's the problem. So, yeah, Jeff Saturday doesn't have any background in coaching besides high school, but he has a very close relationship with Jim, and apparently he's tried to get him to come on the staff 2 separate times, one to be the O-line coach and the other one wasn't specified. So,
yeah,
right.
I'm assuming it's his relationship with him that got him the job.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, like Austin said, I mean, they got a close relationship. They've been friends ever since. They've been friends since he was on the roster, but they've been friends ever since he retired. And like we all alluded to, or we all saw that, they've been trying to get him come on. He refused, or it wasn't the right time. I said that it wasn't the right time. This situation came about, and it was the right time for him to make that move. Like we said, I mean, Gus Bradley has experience. John Fox has experience. That could have made him head coach, but he hasn't been head coaching forever either. So, he's an old school type of coach anyway. I want a coach now to be with a new era, not back. That's what Texans have a problem with Lovie Smith. They're not the new era. They're trying to run. Transition. So I don't want to have to go back. I want to go forward. And so, and Jeff Saturday knows and sees that things are going forward. He's acknowledged that. And same thing with Gus Bradley. I think Gus Bradley is an old school coach. You see what he didn't last too long in Jayville, and he did the same thing there, just run the ball with those running backs. It just felt it felt. I mean, I know they said Reggie Wayne could have been the coach. I just wasn't ready for him. He just became a wide receiver coach. I wasn't ready for him to move up already that soon. And then at the end of the year, we got to fire him anyway. So I wasn't ready for him to take over. And I didn't. I mean, we wasn't going to name the O line coach as head coach. Hell no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the guy's a consultant. He's a paid consultant. Why not make that move? Transition to head coach, and he's only auditioning for 8 games. And at the end of the season, he get interviewed for either stay there or hey, just go back to being on the TV.
Yeah. You know what? I heard many different speculations regarding why they hired Jeff Saturday. Why he didn't have that. I think one of the most plausible, and it kind of goes along with this comment, there's no way the hiring of Jeff is a good thing. If they were looking for a former player, they could have had Wayne. And I get that. But one of the things that I'm going to say I saw in terms of, I don't know whether it's speculation, whether it was actually true, was the fact that they're looking to see from like a different perspective what's really, really wrong with this roster. The problem that you have right now is the fact that this roster on paper should work, and right now it's just not. Like you've shuffled the line about 50 times. Yet you've done different things. You've done all these things, but at the same time, the only thing that's working functionally is the defense. I mean, Matt Ryan was throwing the ball for damn near 60 times a game, and we're still losing, or still not scoring points. And then on top of that, you're having these issues where even on defense, I mean, we all know the issue on defense. Brandon Facison, he's not good. He's not good. And the thing is, it's just, I don't care if he's a 6'2" corner. He's just not that good. I mean, I don't care whether you're 5'9" or 6'2". If you get burnt at 6'2" and you get burnt at 5'9", then you're burnt. Getting burnt at 6'2", it just means that you're a little bit taller, but you're still getting burnt.
Yeah, it's low.
So I mean, so the issue that we're running into is the fact that you don't know what's up with this roster. Now you're going to have to make some decisions next year. Kenny Moore is going to be up for re-sign. I believe. I don't think DeForest Buckner is going to be up for re-sign, but I think it's just like he's, trading him away, which I hope they don't do, would save you almost $20 million. And then on top of that, you have to figure out whether you're going to keep Matt Ryan around. Because if you decide to keep Matt Ryan around, then he's going to be due some money. If you decide to not go with him going into next season, then you do save some. But the thing is, you also take a hit.
Right.
So, I mean, I think this whole Jeff Saturday thing that you have going on, I think this is more so a personnel thing. And then also just to kind of maybe get his feet wet with the coaching thing, because I think ultimately – you're looking at potentially turning him into a GM. I mean, I do agree, and I'm sorry that I didn't see who the Facebook user was, but the one thing that we do see is the fact that Jeff Saturday being hired right now makes it seem like you really, really do have the Super Bowl vets around, and if we're being honest, I think the experiment up to now has been working pretty well. We know that Robert Mathis was coaching up some of the DNs and coaching up some of the young guys, and they were able to do what they needed to do. Reggie Wayne, his first year as a wide receiver coach, I mean, he has Alec Pierce looking fantastic. Even with the limited amount of reps that he's been getting, I mean, he's jumping over people. He's using his height. He's running routes the way that you would expect a veteran to run routes as a rookie. So, I mean, if you're continuously bringing these people in, I think there's no better teacher than experience. And anybody who's been to a Super Bowl or that went to a Super Bowl with that team is going to be able to go ahead and put input in and make sure that they know, like, this is exactly what you need to do. I think, and eventually we may get Peyton back into the fold. Is it going to be as a coach? Possibly, might not be. Is it maybe as somebody in the front office? It could be, absolutely. But the thing is, it's like I see where they might be going with it, but I mean, I don't see how it's an issue. But I just don't think that Jeff Saturday as the head coach right now, I think that is a very, very temporary move. And I think that we're definitely going to be looking at our head coach of the future, whether it be Ben Johnson, D'Amico Ryans, could be Bieniemy, because we're going to be looking at our QB of the future come the spring. And I think this user said it's just like the O-line, wide receiver, DBs in terms of, I'm guessing it's just what they need to do in terms of just like fixing the roster, doing what they need to do. But
this wide receiver is an issue still.
Well, wide receiver, I think is, but I don't think it takes as much precedence right now, because the thing is, the game plan right now is just awful. I mean, for the one game that we were able to, where Matt Ryan was able to be protected, the passing game flourished.
Right.
I mean, you saw what happened against Jacksonville. It's just like Michael Pittman Jr. went for 134 yards on 13 catches. He's basically getting a first down on every single catch. So, I mean, it's like you see exactly how functional this team can be in those situations. But, like, it's honestly, I don't think wide receivers are an issue. I don't think even our DBs are the issue. I think it really is going to boil down to the O-line and getting a quarterback in there. And you're going to need a younger quarterback, because the same way that these older coaches aren't working, these older players aren't working either. We're looking at the end of an era with the Bradys, the Staffords, the Ryans, all these guys who are older quarterbacks, because now we're in a passing league where you have to be able to make moves with your feet in order to do this. I mean, the top two passers in the league, Mahomes and Josh Allen, they literally can throw. They can throw on the run, and they can scramble if need be. Brady can't do that. Stafford can do that a little bit, but, I mean, he's getting utterly destroyed every week. And Matt Ryan can't do that. Matt Ryan has the scrambling ability of a turtle. So, I mean, we're not looking at, you need to be able to adapt to the times, and we haven't adapted. Let's just be honest. We have not adapted to anything. And, it's just like we talked about Saturday and like his impact. We all saw the press conference. That was a hot ass mess. I mean, that was the biggest mess. But one person that I think not a lot of people have been talking about, but let's just call a spade, Chris Ballard. Because, news came out that Chris Ballard wanted one of the guys on the staff as the interim head coach. But Irsay said, no, not doing that. I'm going to get my guy. So my question to y'all is, what does Jeff Saturday being hired mean for Chris Ballard's tenure as the general manager of the Colts?
I don't have a lot to say about that, because I don't think it's a move to, he did step on Ballard's toe, because that's Ballard's job to replace a head coach or OC to hire anyone. Well, for a GM, for an owner to step over and say, hey, I'm gonna hire my guy, instead of you're hiring, your guy. I mean, it's minimum feeling to it. I guess you can say, hey, he don't trust Ballard. Like, hey, no, fuck that. You haven't done anything with the offensive line. You haven't done anything. Get us where we need it. Let me make the move. That's probably why it's so awkward to everybody. It's shocking to everybody. But I don't think it says anything for him to get fired, because they said on the presser that he's going to be the GM. So I think he's going to stay.
What about you, Austin?
He said he was safe during the press conference, but he also said, just like last week or whatever, Frank Wright was safe. So you can't really, to me, I can't really take what he's saying there as truth. I don't trust it. He could come back next year, but he could also be fired. It just feels like Jim Irsay is taking over, getting his guys in there, getting ready to get a new general manager. But he could keep Ballard. It could happen, but I just feel like he's not going to. Just in my opinion.
Yeah, it's we didn't hear anything about Chris Ballard when it came to, the firing of Frank Reich. I think we just got a couple quotables. But the press conference was pretty telling because, I mean, it really seemed like Chris Ballard was trying to appeal to the public to like tell them like, hey, you know, I've been trying, I've been doing this. I think one of the most telling things was him saying during that press conference, he was like, you guys have been, you know, kicking the shit out of me about getting a wide receiver. I finally go and get a wide receiver, and now, you know, look at the O-line. And it's just like
Bullshit.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's just like, don't put this on us. Because the thing is, to say that you had to address this, but you didn't address that because you were finally feeding into the public, to me, it's a cop-out. It's a cop-out the same way that Marcus Brady's firing was a cop-out for me. Like, when you're talking about the fact that you say that we need to get wide receiver and you neglected O-line, you had the chance when we got Kwity Paye to get you had a chance to get an O-lineman and a wide receiver, but you got a defensive end. And then you came back in the second round and got another defensive end. Like, if edge rush is what you're looking for, then okay, that so be it. But the thing is, you went edge rush 2 picks in a row, and we didn't get a wide receiver until very, very late. Like
I don't give a damn about none of the stuff he said, because every year we in the top percentile of having cap space. 60 million, 70 million, 90 million of cap space. Could have got a receiver, could address that. You could have got, because the free agency is before the draft. So you could have spent money on a receiver, could spend money on a tackle. We had the guy that went from the Saints and went to the Miami Dolphins. We could have got him. Yes, we all said that on the podcast. He ignored that shit. He ignored that. We had guys already in the building. Mark Glowinski, you let him go. Chris Reed, you let him go. He could have paid those guys. They didn't want a lot. They could have got a starter money, maybe $8 million a year. I don't know how they deal with that type of stuff.
No, so the thing is, so for guys like Chris Reed and Glowinski, because I want to say, and let me see, but the thing is, like we had that episode where it said, bargain bin Ballard, and this is a guy who's just like, yeah, he promotes from within, but it's like Glowinski, for example. Glowinski signed with the Vikings Glowinski signed with the Giants for 3 years for $18.3 million. That's $6.1 million per year. So it's under that. And then
Correct.
if we're looking at Chris Reed's contract, Chris Reed signed his contract 2 years, $4.5 million. So that's $2.5 million. So actually, in reality, to hold on to those two, it would have been a total of $8.35 million to have both of them. Right. And that's per year. But the thing is, you said, you know what? No, bring up Danny. Even though Danny was the third guy. And then, bring up Matt Pryor. Even though Matt Pryor couldn't beat out Eric Fisher, and I have a thought out salmon fillet that could have protected on the O-line better than Matt Pryor does. Like, so, I mean, as far as we go right now, it's just like you see what happens when you try to cut corners. Like, you've had cap space year in and year out. You didn't spend on anybody until this year because we got Gilmore and we traded for Ngakoue. But you got Gilmore, and Gilmore has more than been living up to the billing and earning that check week to week. Like, he's literally one of the reasons why that defense is as great as it is right now.
Hey, don't forget Danico. He let him go for $1 million.
Yeah,
less than what the Titans gave him.
And the type of impact that he had, because, I mean, honestly, DeForest Buckner is great no matter what. But the thing is, when he played alongside DeForest Buckner that 1 year, those two together were extremely disruptive. And then imagine having Danico Autry, Kwity Paye, and Grover Stewart right now. That set is going to be fantastic in the run and the pass, but you go and you cut corners again. If you keep Danico Autry, you don't have to draft 2 D linemen in one draft.
What about Anthony Walker? I keep going. Can I keep going?
We can. I mean, the thing is, no matter what we see the results of what happens when you try to cut too many corners. And I think that's part of the reason why it's just like, to a certain extent, Chris Ballard looked a little bit uncomfortable because I think he understands now that it's not going to be any more cutting corners. He's really going to have to make like some real power moves this season to really save his job. I mean, I think this year coming up is going to be his prove it year, and he's no longer going for the, well, yeah, we can trade down, we can afford to do this, we can afford to do that, because you keep like he's proven that trading down is legitimately a terrible thing altogether. And I mean, you traded away Nyheim Hines for a pack of rolled gold pretzels. So I mean, like, where's the return on investment for anything that's going on?
I think it's very telling. How often does a owner sit in a press conference?
I don't know because I've never seen a press conference like that ever. I think they sit in, but I don't think they ever speak as much as he spoke last night.
He's sitting in the middle. He's sitting in the middle. He's never I rarely see Irsay sit in the press conference. Even when we acquire talent, we sign guys. Irsay is not sitting in the middle. He might be sitting on the end, or he might be present, but he's sitting in the middle answering questions like he was traded or he was promoted as head coach. Yeah. And Ballard sitting on the side, looking backwards, looking lost, like, and try to blame us for his moves. You can't blame us. You can't blame us for, regardless of what we say, we're going to be fans. The fans going to say, hey, we want a tight end. The fans could have said, hey, next year we want a damn kicker. But don't get his ass first round. You can't listen to us now. You stop using us as that's an issue for me. And that's the issue for me to get him out of there. Because if you're saying, hey, the fans is the reason why you did shit, when you runs the team, you see the team in the press box every Sunday, every Monday, every Thursday. You see that the team is underperforming and your O-line is getting your quarterbacks killed. No matter who's behind there. Nick Foles could have been behind there. He would have got sacked 12 times Sunday. And you're using that. You got Bernard Raymond in the third round, which he was a developing guy. You could have traded up in the second round, got your guy. Those guys, the one that went to Minnesota, could have got him. Yep. It's just so many excuses No, go ahead. There's so many excuses. He did that last year too. He's like, if I get a quarterback, you guys want and he played bad, you guys gonna be gone. I don't give a damn. As long as you draft a guy for our future, who knows he's gonna play bad or not? You saying like you scared to draft a quarterback. And I'm afraid that if he sticks around now, we got a first round pick, he could screw that up. Yeah. He absolutely could, because it's but the thing is, I'm gonna say I think it's different because Irsay generally can go and just kind of like hang back and he kind of like watches, but I think this is going to be one where he's going to be a lot more active. Like he's going to be way more active in this process, and he's going to keep Ballard from potentially trading down and then making this seem like, yeah, we can afford to do this, because at this point we can't afford to do anything. And I think Irsay finally gets that, because he's like, no, we can't keep going through this repetitive cycle where we're literally just going and saying, oh yeah, let's trade back into the second round to get more late picks and then potentially put a quarterback from ICDC college and pick him in the 6th round and then say, you know what, we'll see what happens. And then it doesn't work out, just being like, well, that's, we felt really good about him at the time. It's just like, no, it's just like, it's cheapskating. Like you're literally cheating the process when you know for a fact you can give away some of those picks in that draft, and you can say, you know what, let's go and trade up and go after a Hendon Hooker, or let's trade up for a Will Levis. Because I mean, at this point, you're going to need to trade for a quarterback, period. Like there's no way that you can afford to not do anything along those lines. So, I think this is going to I think Ballard has a little bit more time, but at the same time, it's not going to be
I think he's on a very, very short leash at this point. But we'll go to a couple more comments. Then we have a couple things. Then he said him and Frank was cutting corners on the quarterback position as well, and that's where the line has to be drawn. Yeah, it's like the press conference felt like it was a Jim Irsay show, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, Jim Irsay, there was some times where I heard him, I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what's happening here? Like, what are you saying to us? Because he's just like, well, and we thought we had a process. It's just like, what are you saying to me? Like, what? I don't know
what's in sausage, but I know how to build a team.
Like, sir, nobody said anything about that. Like, what are we talking about? But you know what? And I'm gonna say, because like I said, we're gonna be wrapping up soon. But I'm gonna say, guys, can the season be salvaged? And if so, do we want it to be salvaged?
I think it could. Like, it could be salvaged. And that would probably lead Jeff Saturday to stay on. Do we want it to? It's hard to say. It's hard to say that I'm cheering for us to lose, but at the same time, it's best for the team if we lose. So, like, if we lose, I'm going to try not to be upset,
Yeah. And you know what? And what about you, Josh? Because I know it's just like you may have a certain way that you feel about things. Like,
I mean, as a fan, as a competitor, I play sports myself, and I don't like to lose. Would I root for losing? No. Would I root for tanking? No. But it just seems to be that way. I mean, we had opportunities to start Nick Foles even after naming Jeff Saturday as our head coach. We could have started Nick Foles or Matt Ryan if he's healthy. And so they already named Sam as the guy going forward. I mean, like Austin said, he could do good for the rest of their games, and they could keep him. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I don't know. But if we do win out, it hurts our pick. Because right now we're top 7. I think, I don't know where we at. Top 7.
No, so actually no. Actually, right now we are at like 13.
Okay, and they still got us predicted to get Hendon Hooker at 13.
So no, they haven't. So they haven't projected anything right now. What they did project was, and this is, I don't understand why, they have us taking an offensive tackle, I believe, from Northwestern. It's like Steven something. So they have us taking an offensive tackle, which, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, nah. Like, you know what? It's going to, if Washington does end up, if that pick ends up going to a second-round pick, and we end up being able to kind of get away with that, I mean, couple the first and second together and do it that way. Like, I mean, put that first and second together to move up to where you know for a fact you need to get Hendon Hooker. Because honestly, I don't see there. I mean, you could potentially get Levis. Okay, that's fine. But the thing is, at this point, you can't afford to cheapskate this year when it comes to quarterback.
Nope.
Like, we've done that before. We could have had Justin Fields, but the Bears were just more aggressive on that one.
Yeah, I mean, and look what happened. It serves them purposes because they got a cap and they got $100 million. They got $100 million cap and they got a lot of capital, trade capital.
Yeah.
And so we should do the same thing. I'm not saying trade away every guy. Trade away Yanni, trade away Bobby, trade away Darius and Nelson. I'm not saying that, but if the more we lose, hey, look to upload some guys off the team and get some of those cap back. And that way we could sign some guys in free agency next year and draft some guys. O-line and receivers, cornerbacks, maybe safeties. Get some guys that's going to build this team. We don't have to really rebuild. Do a soft rebuild. We've been doing that anyway. Soft rebuilds. So
yeah,
why not get the guys that up for a contract, like Bobby's up for a contract, trade. We can trade him for, like you said, maybe 4th or 5th. I don't, as long as it's a day 3 or something like that, it should be fine.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like I personally, it's just like I would never just go ahead and just be like, yep, just tank, just do whatever, because of course you want to remain competitive, but at the same time, it's like that, like this team is in a very unique spot, right? Because the thing is, we're losing because there's obviously issues in regards to the roster. There's issues when it comes to the play calling. There's been issues with a lot of these things. But the thing is, this is a nucleus of a team that if you get the right person in, you could absolutely go as far as possible. I mean, I think it's just like you could plug a Lamar in, and then it's just like you'll like that makes you an automatic contender. I think it's just like you could plug a lot of these guys in that are starting on these teams, and they will be fantastic. But the thing is, it's just like right now, it's just a matter of figuring out what's happening, making sure that you're getting the most of what's going on, and then you're doing what you need to do to make sure that you get your guy. Like Hendon Hooker, I think, to me personally, is probably one of the most pro-ready quarterbacks because of the fact that he played for Virginia Tech. He played for Tennessee. Of course, you have that extra year because of COVID. But, you have somebody who can come in, who's playing in these spots, who for a fact has had proven talent, who done these things, who, like, you can go ahead and you can plug him in. If you get that left tackle for the O-line, that O-line is back to being a top 10 unit. I don't care what anybody says. Like, all you need is that tackle, because then that means that you can go ahead and not have Matt Pryor there. And then on top of that, you can go ahead and move things around any way you want to. Hell, you could potentially put Braden Smith at right guard, put Bernard Raymond at right tackle, and then next thing you know, you have that side sold up. Quentin Nelson can get back to form where he can handle what he's handling on his side and just basically just mauling whoever's trying to come through. But that's what we're looking at then.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, I just think it's going to be it's time for an overhaul of the actual system because the system isn't working. But I think we have the personnel to still be able to compete if you get the right person for that situation.
It just depends on what they're looking at. What offense they want to go forward with. Offense we had for the last 5 years wasn't it.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But that's just what we think on that one. And then finally, Raiders versus Colts predictions. Austin, Austin just surprise me. Just surprise me.
I expect the defense to come out and play well like they have all year. And I think our offense is going to look better than they did against New England, which wouldn't be hard to do. Yep. I just, I know we don't want to. I know we don't want to win, but I just have a feeling we're going to win this game.
Yeah, because
the Raiders just aren't good.
They're bad.
Like I know
they're
we're
really
not,
bad.
We're not good, but they're just not good.
They're bad. They're bad.
We're gonna win 7-6.
Wow.
What about you, Josh? Just entertain me.
I don't want us to win. I don't care what the score is. No, you know what? No, screw that. Screw it. I don't know. I got a name for the head coach. I've been calling him Josh McB. So I do want to win. I do want to win. I wanted to win last week, so I do want to win. It's hard, man. I don't know because they always play us tough, man. Derek, it's be the game that Derek Carr goes off. Him and Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be an issue for me. Well, not really because if we lose, still win. But I want to win as a competitor. I want to say 13-10 game. Colts kick a field goal with Chase McLaughlin.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I'm going at it from this perspective and this perspective only. I want to say this is like the Josh McDaniels revenge game. Like this is the game where you just kind of like you kind of stick it to him because you screwed us way back when, and then you made us go out and get Frank Reich, and we panicked and got Frank Reich, and I think we're looking at them like Ballard and Irsay wanting to get their get back. So you know what? I'm gonna say the offense will I'm gonna say be more efficient than they've been this season. I want to say we're looking at 31-14.
And you know what? We gotta win this game anyway. Because Jeff Saturday said that the Raiders was sorry or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, he said they were bad. Yeah, he said they were. Oh no, he said they were horrible. He said horrible.
Yeah. So we gotta win.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So then we So we have to win this one. And then somebody said Colts 24, Raiders 17. All right. So
that's wrong. That's wrong.
Just to be clear, we absolutely want to beat Josh McDaniels, but if we lose, we'll be completely okay with it.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, just so that everybody knows. But all right. So with that being said, guys, that's the end of this episode. At this point, I'm just hoping that we just have like regular shows, because for this season, this has been like off the rails. Like this has been insanity. So I'm hoping that things will get better before they get worse. But geez, this is yeah. But yeah, so tell the people where they can see you on social media, people.
Do I want to?
Yes. Do you want to? Yes, you do.
I'm just here so I won't get fired. You can find me at I am Josh Senior on Twitter.
All right. This is a volunteer effort, by the way. So we're gonna yeah. Listen, I'm not getting paid either. So let's just unless of course you go to Manscaped and then you use promo code FanBattle, then
Yeah. I just don't want to get. I don't want to get canceled like Kanye and Kyrie Irving. I just want to be here.
I don't think you have to worry about that, sir.
But
yeah. So then Austin, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
All right, and you can find me at CJ Colts fan. Make sure that you're going to all the pages as they're displayed here at YDKJAC Podcast, at YDK Basketball, at YDKJAC Baseball, where we're talking everything except about baseball because the Astros won and they're cheaters. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
We agree with that.
Make sure that you're following us. And like I said, we'll be back next Tuesday, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, so other than that, people have a great week, and we will see you next time. And